This la-la lollipop of a rugby competition, bankrolled by oil billionaires and dreamed up, in a boardroom somewhere, deserves every ounce of ridicule that comes its way. You're a good amateur player, right? And you're serving. He's standing next to the net to receive it, isn't he? He's going to volley your serve into hell is what he's going to do.
You got to kind of take the sport lens off of it sometimes and look at it with a general life lens. Like, people make mistakes, and he made some mistakes.
Welcome to the DSPN.
John Walker wins the 1,500 metres gold medal at the Olympic Games.
The All Blacks have won by 29 points tonight.
The Devlin Sports Podcast Network.
Welcome to the podcast, people. Martin Devlin, Lachlan Waugh, DSPN, available on Rover, Spotify Video, Apple Podcasts, DSPN YouTube channel. Keep clicking that subscribe button on the YouTube channel. It really does help. Simple as YouTube, and then type in DSPN. We had John Mitchell on the show yesterday. I urge you to go back and have a watch of that. It's in two parts. One, talking about his time as the All Black coach. The main bit of the interview is all about his coaching of the Red Roses to winning the World Women's Rugby Championship over a week ago. A lot of comments on this. Keep them coming. Oh, he certainly raises it, does Mitch. A lot of people still holding grudges and stuff from over 20 years ago. Look, I think that the guy deserves another chance, like everyone deserves another chance, like I've been given more than another chance, like in life. Hell, we all make mistakes, we cock up, we do things that are stupid. We especially do it when we are a lot younger and we look back in hindsight. I'm not lecturing you here, I'm just saying, watch the video, let me know what you think. Do you believe in this guy? I like him. When he was All Black coach, he locked horns a lot, and some of the decisions he made, I still raise my eyebrows at and think, what the hell? But that was 22 years ago that he coached the All Blacks at the 2003 World Cup. So we've moved on, or have we? Let us know in the comments. Tomorrow, Mailbag Feedback Friday. Today on the show, Murray Mexted. He wants to talk about the psychology of the All Black selection panel, plus this upcoming tour, his thoughts on where the All Blacks are at right now after the Rugby Championship, all of that. We've got a tight five to follow too, 5 topics of the day. Me and Lachlan will debate those. Begin the show the same old way every day, which is a sermon from the mountaintop. And this one about R360.
Marty Sermons, brought to you by WebWonks. Generate online leads with WebWonks. Doctors for your Google data.
We live in an amazing, amazing world, and it's wasted on the crappiest generation of just spoiled idiots.
Goodbye, R360. And for me, good riddance. This la-la lollipop of a rugby competition, bankrolled by oil billionaires and dreamed up, in a boardroom somewhere far from an actual rugby field, deserves every ounce of ridicule that comes its way. This week, the leading rugby nations of the world. And that bit is important because it wasn't some limp bureaucratic directive from the faceless donutters at World Rugby. It was the nations themselves together released a joint statement saying any player who signs for this new R360 league will be ineligible for international rugby. Good job. Finally, a collective spine. Finally, some leadership that recognises this Mickey Mouse cash grab for what it is. A soulless attempt to wedge itself between club and country, feeding off that most basic of human temptations, greed. Now look, we can all understand the player's perspective. Hell yes, the money being thrown around is eye-watering. 3 times, even 5 times what some of them earn on their current contracts. In any walk of life, that is tempting. And we'd probably all be tempted. You can't fault people for wanting to set themselves and their families up. But, let's be honest, this isn't rugby. It's not real rugby. It's contrived, manufactured, sport as entertainment, created for, well, who? Who exactly? No one seems to know, and fewer seem to care. Is there even room for this circus in the rugby calendar? Next year alone, for example, we've got Super Rugby, the new Nations Cup in July and November, a possible tour of South Africa, a truncated rugby championship. The NPC's meant to be jammed in there somewhere, and also an All Blacks end-of-year tour. And that's just our side of the equator. Up north, they've got their own club competitions that go for months, the Six Nations, Lions tours and World Cups every few years. So where exactly does R360 fit in? Somewhere between brunch and burnout? And more importantly, what's the carrot for a player with any real ambition? It's not playing for the Dubai Diddlers or the San Francisco Fiddlers, and if those two teams aren't real yet, hey, give it another week. It's representing your country. It's pulling on the black jersey, standing for the national anthem, chasing a World Cup dream. And here's the thing. Money doesn't buy credibility. It never has, it never will. You can toss millions around, but it won't turn a synthetic sideshow into something that people care about. Would you pay to stream a match between a bunch of league converts and past their best rugby pros playing in front of 3,000 mildly confused expats? I didn't think so. Neither will I. It'll have all the atmosphere of a midweek testimonial, farcical, forgettable, and finished before it even begins. So go on, players. Take the money if you must. Nobody begrudges you that. But understand what it means. Your international career ends the moment you sign. You become invisible. The big stage, the test caps, the World Cups, gone. The biggest rugby nations have drawn a line in the sand. You cross it, and you stay there. And as the live golfers have learnt the hard way, no matter how fat the paycheck, the grass on the other side isn't always greener. Sometimes it's just plastic.
The Tide 5.
Tide 5 time, Lachlan. We haven't done this for a little while, have we? 5 separate sporting topics. Du jour sporting debate taking place within about 2 minutes. That's our time frame when this guy yells at us. Yes! On to the next one we go. Let's talk about Rugby 360, the farce that it is, and the decision by the leading international rugby playing nations to say, you go, that's it. Ronaldo, Cristiano, the first football billionaire. The Australian Open next year, single point showdown competition. I like this. Broncos 2015. It's been a decade since yourself as a teenager with your dad watch Ben Hunt wreck your grand final dream. How good does it feel now? And as well as that, we went out to the Kiwis launch for the international campaign earlier in the week. I'm going to bring you those interviews later on next week. And I just want to know, Lachlan, just your age and stage in life, what does it mean to you, the Kiwis playing international? Yes! Let's start off with R360. You heard my views on that. Your thoughts on it. I can just say that it is not often that those that run international rugby, and let's be honest, the administrators had nothing to do with this, but the rest of the nations, their CEOs, chair people and that, getting together and coming up with a really good, healthy decision for the future of international rugby, I believe. I applaud this. And I know you probably got a different view on this because you're from a different generation than me.
No, because you're very quick to paint everyone in my age range with the same brush, saying that we're the dick pic TikTok young Instagram crowd.
Yes.
I don't like the idea of this R360 thing. Now, imagine a world where it actually works out and all the best players, I'm not talking just like a Roger Tuivasa-Sheck who's has had a great career, but he is at the end of it, for example, if he was to go. But imagine if, I don't know, Will Jordan got enticed away and started playing for one of these teams and left New Zealand Rugby, or, I don't know, Lester Whanganuku or a Wallace Atiti or some of these really good younger, moving into their prime sort of All Blacks that we have. I'd be filthy because the teams that I support, the teams that I map my sporting support around each year, All Blacks, Test, Super Rugby, NRL, if they were to take league players, well, that all gets impacted. All of a sudden, I don't sort of view my teams in the same light because they're taking all my favourite players away. So it ruins my sports fandom. So I hated the idea of it from the start. I never thought it would work because as much as people can be enticed by money and, money talks, obviously is the common saying.
And people walk.
I do not think that the majority of rugby and rugby league players in this part of the world would prefer to get, say, 5-year salary crunched up into one and do away with winning an NRL Premiership, winning State of Origin, winning a Super Rugby title, winning a World Cup with the All Blacks, beating the Springboks, winning a Lions series. I still think all of that stuff matters
count. It has to
a lot
matter,
to younger people. Because the people who are in their prime now or moving into it are in my age bracket. And when I was young, I would get up during the night to watch us play Italy, for goodness sake, let alone the Springboks, I would stay up late to watch Broncos games, or I would nervously wake up Saturday mornings, because I'd be a bit too young to stay up too late, and I'd be lying there in bed going, geez, did we beat the Cowboys? Did we beat the Dragons? And then I'd go onto the family computer and log on and see that we won or lost. And this is before my family household had Sky. So that stuff still matters to younger people.
Glad.
So I don't think it was ever going to work because you're playing around with the heritage of teams and competitions.
Yeah, look, and
that's too weighty, I think.
To that as well, you could even entice some of the best players in the world. But to me, it's like putting together a football team. And say you get Erling Haaland and you play him alongside Mo Salah, and then on the other side you've got Mbappe playing alongside Messi, and you've got a competition. I'm not interested in this because these teams don't mean anything.
Yeah, the Saudi Pro League never enticed the best players in the world at their peak. It never took away an Mbappe or a Haaland. It took Messi and Ronaldo, or it took Ronaldo at the end of his career.
But this is just creating and contriving teams that people have. There's no reason for me to buy into this.
Yeah. And
as a fan, I think that's what whoever it is behind this just doesn't understand. Yes! Speaking of football, Cristiano Ronaldo, the first football billionaire. Well, this doesn't surprise me. I suppose what does surprise me is that it's taken this long. Who are the sporting billionaires in the world? LeBron's one of them, isn't he?
Is he a billionaire?
Yeah, Tiger Woods was another.
There's a big difference between million and billion.
No, billionaire. LeBron, the first billionaire basketballer. Tiger Woods.
Jordan would have been the first billionaire because of his shoe brand, right?
Because of his shoe brand. Football being the world's biggest sport with the biggest fan base and the amount of money that's generated by FIFA World Cups and everything, it just surprises me that it's perhaps taken this long. I wouldn't have been surprised if Cristiano was the first sporting billionaire in the world, given the fact that it is the world's most popular game.
I guess when you think of income outside of your contract, would a football star get what an NBA star would?
Remember, he sat at a press conference.
Yeah, the Coca-Cola thing.
Moved the bottle of Coca-Cola and 6 billion or 7 billion got wiped off their share price?
Yeah, something wild.
So that's the power the guy has, right? And also with social media these days, when you've got hundreds of millions of followers, hundreds of millions of followers.
How is it then that... It's a good point. How did Tiger get there before Cristiano? Well, not before, but how did a golfer get there before a football star?
Because golf, I mean, the amount that they get paid is incredible. What they actually win, but also the endorsements.
Footballers get
but
so much more.
Well,
surely the best of the best do it.
What are we arguing about this for?
Yeah, we're not seeing any of that cash.
Yeah, I don't like R360, but I really like this idea, and this is gimmicky, but there's something kind of cool about it. The single point showdown at the Australian Open next year. 10 amateurs, 22 professionals. 32? Yeah.
Well, define amateur. Could we join?
If you get through the qualifiers. Okay? And then what they do is they play paper, rock, scissors to see who serves, and then it's 1 point. So you might play Carlos Alcaraz in the first round, the round of 32 to go to the round of 16.
Shouldn't it be one set?
No, it's a single point showdown.
Yeah, but if you serve, you've got a massive advantage right away.
Well,
especially if
beat him at paper, rock, and scissors.
But especially if Alcaraz is serving, and it's Lachlan from Auckland, New Zealand.
You think you're a good amateur player, right? And you're serving. He's standing next to the net to receive it, isn't he? He's going to volley your serve into hell is what he's going to do.
Do you think
he's not standing at the baseline waiting to receive it?
Do you reckon the tennis players will actually go hard out?
Well, there's a prize of $1 million bucks at the end of it, and I suppose they earn that every time they play.
If they win that, surely they then give it to charity or something.
Well, I just don't. I think as a player, the last thing you want to do is lose to Lachlan from New Zealand in the first round. Right?
Yeah, but it's the best of both worlds. You beat him, I'm one of the best tennis players in the world. But if you lose to Lachlan from New Zealand, I wasn't trying. He's just a fan.
Look, you can't do this with contact sports, but when it comes to things like, I always thought with cricket, for example, how cool would it have been as a spectator to face the dearly beloved Shane Warne in an over, right?
Yeah, I guess he's not pacing it down the wicket.
He's not pacing it down the wicket.
Like
Same as, like facing a grandmaster in chess or something like that, or actually just having one shot off the tee against Rory or one of those guys and seeing whether or not you can win a hole or something like that. I like the idea. I think this is, they're trying whatever they can to add extra things to these Grand Slams, and this to me is just a bit of giggle fun is what it is. If an amateur, you can just imagine some guy, Barry from Parramatta, with his mullet gets through to the semi-final or something. He is going to be a hero, isn't he?
Yeah.
Who doesn't want that guy to win?
Well, I mean, if they play it seriously, then the amateurs get knocked out pretty damn quickly, don't they?
You just got to practice your...
But there's 22 amateurs and 10 professionals, right? So
okay.
That means that amateurs could go up against each other.
Okay, I'm Alcaraz. You're Lachlan from New Zealand. Paper, rock, scissors. Who serves?
Wait, what are we doing?
I win. Right.
No, what are we doing? 1, 2, 3? Do it again. No, do it again. 1, 2. No, that's just embarrassing. 1, 2, come on, do it again. 1, 2, 3.
How easy was that?
No, because
How easy was that?
you kept shaking and you saw you cheated.
Oh, he cheated. Mum, he cheated. Broncos 2015. You've had a few days to think about this now. Kempy bought the beers in yesterday. Good on him.
I told them last night.
Yeah, and...
They were still warm.
Does it bury the ghosts?
No.
Because you were in the stadium in 2015.
Not at all.
Okay, and why doesn't it? Because you've won a premiership now. Surely
I think now, if I happen to stumble across highlights of the 2015 grand final, I might be able to watch them. Like every time highlights from that game or 2023 would come up on my phone if I'm on Instagram or whatever.
Oh no, you're deleting it.
Straight away. And I'm throwing the phone in the bed.
That's it. Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
It physically makes me feel ill. And I'd get nervous and sweaty and feel awful. So maybe I can watch those now knowing that we finally have a premiership. But no, the win's great, but it doesn't wipe off what happened 10 years ago.
Isn't that interesting? See, because as a fan of many teams, and as much as I loved every single time that United won anything through the Sir Alex Ferguson
nothing
era,
gets rid of those losses.
The defeats hurt. The defeats are still as raw today, like dropping a 4-2 lead at home to Everton with 8 minutes to go, and that win, we would have won the title in 2012, and instead you get Aguero only happened because we cocked it up. We had an 8-point lead with 6 games to go. That still burns, right? Even though we won the title the next year, because still burns.
The wins, for me, the wins always feel a bit surreal. That's like I still don't really think we've won the Premiership. The idea that the Brisbane Broncos have won the NRL, which is stupid because they were the powerhouse of the 90s, but when I started supporting them, which was 2008...
Yeah, well, you can't claim any of those.
No, I can't. 08 was, up and down. It's pretty much the worst stretch in the club's history. We still made the finals and we've lost 2 grand finals. But no, nothing gets rid of those losses at all. And I've always been kind of more let down than not let down by the Broncos. But it's burned in my memory and burned in my heart, the feeling of watching Ben Hunt drop the ball. Like I remember when Thurston took that kick, I didn't look. I was staring.
I hit the post too.
Yeah, I was looking up there. I couldn't look at it. And I was right on the aisle, so the aisle's here and I'm right next to it and Dad's on my left. And I'm sitting on the aisle, I'm not even in my seat. And then 2023 I watched it on my own in my lounge. My flatmate was there, but I couldn't be around anyone.
There was the famous infamous toilet incident.
Yeah, went to Cleary kicks 40-20, I go to the bathroom, I just sit there for a little bit. And I remember the feeling the next morning waking up, and I had the same feeling with something else recently. I can't remember what it was. It might have been the All Black Springboks, where I just laid there and I thought, oh, that's right.
2 to go quickly then.
We lost last
I just want to mention John Mitchell, who I started the show by saying, look, go back and watch that interview. You're a lot younger than me. Damn, there's been some vitriol on the comments. I'd like people to keep it seemly and things, but I didn't realise that the depth of feeling people still have and a lot of anger about Mitch when he was coach of the All Blacks. And look, I'm as bitter and twisted as everyone about that 2003 defeat. But we've made our peace as people, myself and John, and we did that over a number of meetings over a number of years, which just happened to they weren't contrived. We just happened to bump into each other and both made a lot of mistakes at round about the same ages of our lives. And I'm genuinely really happy for him. I just think it's 20 years ago now. I know that's why I asked you about the Broncos. You've got to move on at some stage. I understand if people don't move on. I get that. But you've got to give the guy another chance, don't you? As a person.
Well, he took on a job at 37.
Yeah, that's...
Like, I've got friends who are that age, and they're good people, but the idea of them being the All Blacks coach at 37...
Yeah.
My goodness. And, you hear a lot of quotes from a lot of coaches or managers or whatever in sport, and they talk about how they're continually learning. Like, even at the age of 60 or 65, they're still learning things, and they're still much wiser than they were in their 50s, I'm sure, let alone their 30s. So, he's still learning at that age. And it's been, 22 years since he's had a ton of different... You could argue he's the most experienced and... well-resourced coach that we have because he's coached all around the world. He's had a variety of roles.
Yep, including England men as well as
he was the England men's defensive coach when they beat us at the World Cup. So it's all like you got to kind of take the sport lens off of it sometimes and look at it with a general life lens. Like, people make mistakes, and he made some mistakes, and he made some decisions that I'm sure he'd want to regret, but he would regret. But at the time he made them, he thought he was doing the right thing, and maybe he could have handled himself with media. I don't know. Obviously, I was 5 or 6 years old at the time. There's media stuff he could have handled better, but it's all part of learning. You don't stop learning at the age of 37. All of a sudden, you're the master at everything. Just because you're the All Blacks coach doesn't mean you can't make mistakes.
All I'm asking is that just watch the interview and see whether or not that changes your mind. Finally, let's talk about the Kiwis. And we were out at NZR LHQ on Tuesday. I didn't realise they had that museum there. Did you know that they had that museum there? No,
and I've been in that office before.
That should be in Te Papa. The Rugby Museum and the League Museum, all our sports memorabilia museums should be in Te Papa. Or
there should be a New Zealand Sports Museum in Auckland or Wellington.
Well, there used to be one in Dunedin. I don't know if it still exists or not, but even all of that stuff, it deserves to be in the National Museum because it's such a part of who we are. All of our sporting achievements, triumphs, heartbreaks, losses, all of the people connected are our heroes. They all need to be there alongside every other hero in New Zealand as far as I'm concerned. I got really moved by being out there. I'd forgotten how much I loved International Rugby League and the Kiwi jersey.
It's very easy to forget about International Rugby League because it is so poorly run and managed globally, and it is dwarfed by the NRL here in New Zealand, whether people want to admit it or not.
It is, it's true, mate.
And even by state of origin as well. But when you go there and you see how long the team has been around and how many tests they've played and what they've achieved and all the great players, there's a timeline and it goes back to even before 1900, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
And you look at this time and it talks about all these tests that we've beaten Australia and we've beaten Great Britain. We've done all these great things. There was this period from 1960 to 1964 when New Zealand were ranked the best team of that period because they had the best win-loss record. Which you'd imagine that the Kangaroos or Australia have been the best team ever since. Yeah,
since league was invented.
It's what you would imagine.
Yeah.
But then you go and you look and no, it's not the case. So, but again, why is it so tucked away?
Yeah.
Like even if as a fan, are you able to turn up to the New Zealand Rugby League office and look at it? Are you allowed to do that?
I don't know.
I'd like to think you could.
Every league fan in the country.
There's so many great things there, and we only saw like one little portion. There was another. Well, you might have seen more. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
But I didn't walk in the extra. There's another room where you snake around and whatnot.
Mind blowing, mate. What's in
and
there?
the wall. And it's like anyone who's been to Mount Alabama, a lot of high schools have this where they have like obviously the academic and the sports names in gold lettering. It's like that where they have this wall of just all the Kiwis and all their names. You look at all the names that have worn the jersey and they're
cool,
written on this nice old rustic looking wooden panel in gold lettering. And it's really, really, so much history. That's not being utilised as best as it could.
Leave us a comment as always, people. We thank you so much for supporting us here at the DSPN.
DSPN.